Hi, friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. My name is Tara, and I'm here with my co host and sister Liz of the Source Connection podcast. We have our next iteration of the Ignite experience coming up, and we still have a few spots available. So we wanted to call in folks who would really, really resonate with this. So we want to start just by telling you who it's for, and maybe you'll recognize yourself in this. So let's start with just by talking about very briefly sort of the stages that people are in or are going through right now in this, awakening process that we're in. And, we've talked about this before. It's of course not linear. It's not black and white. But this just gives us a reference for you to go, oh, that feels more like me, or that feels more like me. And to know if the Ignite experience would actually be beneficial for you right now. So,
Yeah. So I remember, and this is an ongoing thing because you start noticing different things about the world that you live in. But I recognize that first stage as a big, like, oh, shit, what's going on?
yeah.
Wait, what? Like, you either see something, somebody will say something, or you have a spark inside of you that just recognizes that something is off. And you start looking and you start seeing that the world as you knew is actually not what you've been told. And that moment can be very disorienting, can be scary. It can be a time where you feel like the carpet, the rug has been pulled out from under you. This is what I'm going back to, like the feelings that I have every time something new gets revealed and I say new in the broader, deeper way. When you think, oh yeah, well, yeah, I know, and then something, gets exposed and you go, whoa, what? And of course, with time, after you see that time and time again, you just go,
You're like,
like, I'm not surprised anymore. There's a
totally.
little bit of like, oh,
Okay.
of
Well,
course.
yeah, here we go. Get the popcorn out. Let's go.
Yeah, get the popcorn. So when
Yeah.
that first happened, yeah, the words I can use are disorienting. There is fear because all of a sudden you don't know how to trust or where to look for things. So you start realizing that you need to go within, right? Because your compass, your instinct, your alignment, it's going to be what takes you in this journey. And oftentimes, maybe at that time, that's not clear yet, but starts to get aroused, let's say.
Yeah. And if it's happening for you, then you're ready for it. It's time. It's time, and that introspection and outrospection are happening simultaneously, and it's a dance, and you can't really do one without the other. um so it's, yeah, so that time when we're like, oh, kind of seeing things for what they really are. Then there is the conditioning that we've been through our whole lives has to come unraveled,
Yeah.
and undone. And so that's the undoing of that, which again can be scary. It can be isolating. You can feel alone. You can feel like there's no one else around you, maybe in your friends or family, who understands or who feels that same way, or who you can even talk to, right? So there's that time. And then we come into the time of reclaiming yourself, your individual self. So we can call that an individuation process, where you're like, oh, okay, how do I relate now to this? Everything fell apart. I'm using quotes here. And now I'm coming more into myself. And there can be a time where it's the wounded child might be acting out or saying, oh, no, none of that is for me, or very black and white kind of thinking, throwing things out with all the babies out with the bathwater, if you will, right? Just
Yeah.
and that's a necessary time too, to really feel your anger and feel all the things that are going on for you. And this is the time when we do a lot of deep like shadow work, in deep reclamation, and feeling that whatever traumas are within us. This is a very intense time of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then our next phase.
And mind you, we're making this like short and sweet. There's so
Yeah,
much nuance to all of this. And this is, as Tara said in the beginning, it's not a linear thing, because you may find yourself all of a sudden finding something about a certain structure, and you may find yourself back in relation to that new revelation, like, ah, and then you have to look back into yourself, and then you have to go, wait a minute, right? So it's this continuous process of looking out and understanding in, and
yeah,
finding ways of relating not only with the outside world, but foremost, you start recreating the relationship that you have with yourself. And I think this process of reacclimation, like reclaiming all of those places where you've learned to trust and then you feel betrayed, or where you've given your authority and your power away, all of that, it's part of when you start gathering back all of that, like, oh,
yeah,
wait, there's a piece of me out here that I'm still outsourcing to whoever this authority, I'm air quoting here, is. Reclaim that, because I own myself, right?
yeah.
You start collecting and you start taking ownership. And with self-ownership comes self-responsibility. And
Hmm.
so you start flipping a little bit of, it's not so much about the outside as it is the inside and how you start to relate with those things. What are you consenting to? So I feel like it becomes a reclamation of power, of
Yes,
authority,
yes,
of understanding yourself so deeply, right? That if you really go through that process of shadow work, which is so beautiful and so charging in a way, because it's looking like right in the mirror and just going, well, that's not working for me. And the ways I've been
yeah,
behaving, how am I sabotaging myself? What have I not healed yet? With, we all go through our own traumas, different things,
yeah,
different ways. And so kind of a cleaning of the house. And when things feel a little bit more in order, you start to really noticing, who am I
mm,
exactly? What is
yeah,
my role here? How would I like to contribute to this time?
yeah. Yeah, so like Liz said, through that knowing, loving, and accepting yourself comes the just innate natural knowing of your own power, which you go, oh, I'm so much more powerful than all of that out there that's coming at me. Or the we can get triggered, we can get that sense of, oh, I'm a victim of this, which we can go through many, many times. And then we always come back to ourselves and always come back to that internal process of, no, actually, I'm not. I get to choose, I get to consent or not, I get to have the power. So that power then gets translated into this, like, like, oh my God, yes, I'm so excited about this. And so who am I here to be? And what am I here to do? And what is my role? And this is really where the Ignite experience comes in. It doesn't mean that you're totally sorted and totally healed. And there's not, like that's not any of us, not me or Liz, that's not anybody. We're always on this path of new discoveries about ourselves, and new things coming in, new ways to learn and know about ourselves. So it's not that, it's just Ignite isn't focusing necessarily on, like, healing traumas and wounds and all of that. Like, it's focusing on, who are you here to be, and what are you here to do now in this moment, in these times that you chose to be here for, and creating community from that place, from the place of, how are we integrating together, how am I here to be of service at this time, because there's a lot of service to be done, to be had.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Noticing it's a reorientation. It works as a compass, so where you can reorient if needed be. and realize that everything has happened for a reason, that life is working for you. And how do you reap now the fruit that it's ready to be shared, ready to be consumed of all of that labor, of all of the energy that you've inputted into the brave path of awareness. It's a courageous path, and it's an never ending path, I would say, because there isn't a place that you arrive to, but it just continues to unfold. And my experience has been that life keeps getting richer and deeper and more meaningful and brighter and more exquisite. So if this resonates and it feels in alignment for you, we would love to welcome you into this experience. And if you're hearing this for the first time, we will have some links or a link where you can see a presentation about it, so you get a better idea of what this experience looks like, and what are the offerings within this week's, and what is the gift exchange, and just all of that is in there, so you get a
all the
better
details.
sense.
Yeah.
And we welcome you, and we are excited to get started.
So if this calls to you and you're ready to realize your own power and what that can do in the world, then come apply with us, because we do have an application process and some questions and things like that. So you can find that at thesourceconnection.us /ignite, thesourceconnection.us/ignite. And we can't wait to hear from you soon.
Come tend to the fire together.
Ooh, yeah.